Big moves just dropped, and the Chiefs are shaking things up again. Kareem Hunt's back, Juju's in the mix, and the cornerback market just got torched. Did they miss the boat on McDuffie? I'm breaking it all down, no fluff, just football. Stick around. You won't believe what Kansas City's cooking up this time. What's up, buddies? Welcome back. If you are new here, make sure you hit the subscribe button. We cover all AFC West news here on this channel. So the Chiefs were hustling the last few days, adding some names to the roster. Let's kick it off with the re-signing of running back Kareem Hunt. That went down on Friday. Then boom, another signing popped off right after. For Hunt, he's back on a one-year deal. Could be worth up to $2.5 million with a base of $1.5 million. That's just a hair over the veteran minimum, and he's got a shot to cash in more if he hits whatever bonuses they tossed into the contract. I'm liking this move a lot, and I'll tell you why in a sec. But hold up. Honestly, I wasn't even sure they'd grab another running back till after the draft. I mean, they just signed Elijah Mitchell to a one-year deal earlier this week, and this upcoming running back draft class, loaded with talent. So I was thinking, hey, maybe they wait, see who they snag in the draft, and if the room's solid, no need to make more moves. But turns out more than one team was sniffing around Kareem Hunt, so Kansas City said, nah, we're bringing him back now. Right now, the running back room's sitting with Isaiah Pacheco, Kareem Hunt, Elijah Mitchell, Keontae Ingram, and that fullback running back combo guy, Carson Steele. Bringing Hunt in, that puts the Chiefs in a pretty good spot. They're not heading into the draft desperate for a running back, reaching for some dude out of panic. Right now, I'd say Pacheco and Hunt are the two looking like locks for the roster. Elijah Mitchell? He should make it too, but his health's the big question mark. Guy missed all of 2024 with that nasty hamstring injury, so it's all about how he holds up through the course of the offseason, from OTAs, training camp, all the way to preseason. That's going to be a big thing to keep an eye on. Then you've got Keontae Ingram. He might end up stashing on the practice squad. Carson Steele? Still up in the air right now. If Andy Reid's dead set on having a fullback this year, all right, cool, that's his call. Reid loves his fullbacks. But here's the thing. Kareem Hunt's a beast in those short yardage spots, which is usually where you'd stick a fullback. Difference is Hunt's not touching special teams. Carson Steele, though, he logged over 100 special teams snaps last year. Now, if the Chiefs do what I'm thinking and still grab a running back in the draft, are they really going to roll with Pacheco, Hunt, Mitchell, a drafted guy, and Carson Steele? Back in 2024, the initial 53-man roster had 3 running backs. Well, really 2, plus a fullback. But every year's different, so we'll see how they play it. This Kareem Hunt signing, though, rock solid move. Hunt's vision is unreal. He forced more missed tackles than anyone else on this roster, not even close. He's the guy you want in those tight, short yardage moments. What's got me pumped about this is, last year he only played 13 games, but still piled up 728 yards and 7 rushing touchdowns. This season, he's getting a full offseason to get ready. OTAs, training camp, preseason. He'll be locked into the playbook, way more dialed in than last year. Think about it. Kareem got picked up for the practice squad right after Pacheco broke his ankle in that Week 2 Bengals game. His first action? Week 4 against the Chargers? Same game Rashee Rice went down and missed the rest of the year. From there, Hunt was playing catch-up. Dude was so beat up he could barely roll out of bed on September 30th, the day after that Chargers game. Still figuring out the playbook, no real training camp or preseason to get his body right. This year, total game changer. He's got all that time to prep, and that's going to set him up to ball out even harder. Some folks thought signing Kareem means the Chiefs might skip drafting a running back this year. And yeah, they don't have to. Technically, they could hold off till 2026. But with this draft class, I'd be pretty shocked if they didn't draft a running back at some point, even if it's later in the rounds. I mean, Pacheco's on the last year of his deal. Mitchell and Kareem are both on one-year contracts. No long-term stability there. Either way, I'm all in on this Hunt signing. Makes total sense to bring the soon-to-be 30-year-old vet back into the mix. Even if he's just a rotational guy, it works. God forbid injuries hit that room again. Kareem's proven he can step up big time. Right after the Kareem Hunt re-signing news dropped, the Chiefs didn't waste time. They added to one of the weakest spots on the roster. They signed 28-year-old defensive tackle Jerry Tillery to a one-year deal. This guy's a former first-round pick by the Chargers back in 2019, but he got cut by LA in November 2022. The Raiders snagged him off waivers, keeping him in the AFC West. He hung around there for a couple years, then signed a one-year deal with the Vikings last year. Now he's back in the AFC West with the Chiefs. Contract details? Not out yet, but last year he signed with the Vikings for 1 year, $2.75 million, with $1.47 million guaranteed. I'd bet it's something close to that range. This signing's not a budget buster, but it's got my attention for a couple reasons. He's a former first-rounder with a crazy athletic profile, 9.72 relative athletic score, and he can slide all over the defensive line. Outside, inside, doesn't matter. He's got that flexibility. Not on Chris Jones's level, obviously, but the Chiefs' defensive game plan, especially on big downs, is to let Jones pick his matchup, line up wherever he wants, and the rest of the D-line shifts around him. That's why having guys who can move like that is huge. Amadi did it. We'll see if he's back or what happens there. Mike Dana's on the roster too, and he can shift around. Stat-wise, Tillery's got 12.5 career sacks, 15 tackles for loss. Not eye-popping numbers. He was pretty quiet in 2024 with Minnesota, but if anyone can squeeze the best out of him, it's Steve Spagnuolo calling the shots and defensive line coach Joe Cullen. This isn't a massive splash signing by any stretch. Tillery's probably a rotational depth guy at best. Last year, he played 467 snaps. Compare that to Turk Wharton, who was up near 700, and Chris Jones, who logged 771. Tillery had 17 pressures, Tershawn Wharton had 33. But Wharton just landed a 3-year, $54 million deal with the Panthers, while Tillery's on a 1-year contract, closer to vet minimum. Another plus for Tillery, he stayed pretty healthy his whole career. 17 games in back-to-back seasons, and his lowest was 15. So there you have it. Chiefs beefed up the running back room and the defensive tackle room on Friday. Meanwhile, another pending free agent on the lines heading out, Derek Nottie. He signed with the New York Jets yesterday. Likely a 1-year deal, though the full details aren't out yet. That's a bittersweet one. Nottie's been a Chief his whole career, 7 years since getting picked in the 3rd round of the 2018 draft out of Florida State. He's been part of all 3 Super Bowl runs in the Mahomes era, and he was actually the longest tenured guy from that draft class, which was Brett Veach's first as GM. Gonna be strange seeing him in a different jersey, but I'm wishing him the best. Unless he's lining up against Kansas City's O-line, trying to chase down Patrick Mahomes. So Nottie's gone, Wharton's out too along the D-line, but Tillery's in. The Chiefs are definitely drafting more D-line help too. This defensive tackle class is one of the deepest in years, according to most draft guys. Wouldn't even surprise me if they grabbed 2. Depends on what else they do before the draft, though. Might even see them snag another vet afterward, maybe a Mike Pennell type. Now, that Nottie news hit on Sunday, but let's rewind a day. On Saturday, the Chiefs pulled off a sneaky good move, re-signing veteran wideout Juju Smith-Schuster. Guy's only 28, played 14 games for Kansas City last year, hauled in 18 catches for 231 yards and 2 touchdowns in the regular season. But that AFC Championship game against the Bills, he showed up. 2 catches, 60 yards, big time. He was banged up a bit last year, though. Hamstring kept him out for 3 or 4 games. He's had some knee trouble in past seasons too, and that knee's supposedly why the Patriots cut him loose early last year. Back in 2022 with the Chiefs, though, he was money. 78 catches, 933 yards. That got him a 3-year, $33 million deal with New England, but it only lasted a year. Tough break for him, but Kansas City was all over it. Called him up right after his release. Why? Hollywood Brown went down with that sternoclavicular dislocation on the first play of the first preseason game. Juju's not the 2022 version of himself anymore, no question, but Patrick Mahomes trusts him. They use him in ways that really juice up the offense. I'd slot him as a solid wide receiver 4 or 5, but if injuries hit, he can step into a bigger spot. He can take some heat off Kelsey over the middle too. Plus, the Chiefs love having him out there blocking. He's physical, plays to the whistle, sometimes even past it. That's gold for their quick passing game. Bubble screens, jet sweeps, and he's a factor in the run game too. Juju's versatile, easy to overlook in coverage. Buffalo sure forgot about him in that AFC Championship. And since this is probably close to a vet minimum deal, it's a no-brainer move to me. You could even say he's more valuable in his role for this offense than DeAndre Hopkins was last year. Speaking of Hopkins, he just grabbed a 1-year, $6 million deal with the Ravens, but the Chiefs snagged Juju for way less. Think $1 million. Maybe a bit more. No shade to Hopkins. This is all about Juju clicking in this offense. Could his role grow this year? Might even lighten Kelsey's load a bit. Chiefs have 4 solid receivers locked in. Rice, Worthy, Hollywood, Juju. Nico Remigio's a bonus for returns and depth. A few other names are floating around, and Sky Moore's still on his rookie deal, but he's no roster guarantee. Not even close. The top locks? Rice, Worthy, Hollywood, Juju, and maybe Remigio. So here's the rundown of what the Chiefs have been up to these past couple weeks. They re-signed Trey Smith, tagged him, but fingers crossed a long-term deal's coming soon. Then they brought back Hollywood Brown, Nick Bolton, James Winchester, Cole Christensen, Robert Tonyan, Malik Herring, Bailey Zapp, Kareem Hunt, and Juju Smith-Schuster. Yep, you heard it. Zapp is backy. They re-signed him right after grabbing Gardner Minshew last week. Minshew's looking like the QB2 for the squad. So what's your thoughts on this? Share in the comment section.